Factor for that disappearance.
And for a lot of the travelers in the U.S., heavy rain may affect your holidays.
Currently in our area, 78 degrees under mostly cloudy skies. Today, partly cloudy, high 81. Winds southeast at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Tonight, clear to partly cloudy, low 69. Winds south-southeast at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Monday, intervals of clouds and sunshine, high 80. Winds south at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Here's our 7-day outlook.
We're following a developing story out of Indonesia. Air search for missing Air Asia Flight 8501 that disappeared with 162 people on board has been halted. Officials say airspace was thick with storm clouds, strong winds, and lightning. We're breaking it down with expert analysis.
And Winter Storm Frona set to impact a large part of the West, bringing with it heavy snow and dangerous wind chills. We will track the storm, letting you know who's getting hit today and where the storm is headed next.
And a heavy rainmaker already in progress. From the Gulf Coast to Maine, flood watches and warnings popping up across several states. We'll let you know who needs to be on alert. Good morning and welcome to Weather Center Live. It is Sunday, December 28th. I'm Mark Elliott.
And I'm Bonnie Schneider. We have a very busy morning. There's heavy rain that could delay holiday travelers, plus Winter Storm Frona. It's been named and bringing heavy snow and dangerous wind chills ahead.
But we begin this morning with yet another air mystery. An Air Asia flight carrying 162 people has disappeared mid-flight. Air search was halted for the night. It will resume in the morning at 6 a.m. once you get some daylight going. But there are some ships that are still in the area trying to continue the search.
That's right. Flight 8501 lost contact with the Jakarta Air Traffic Control Tower around 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. It was halfway between its origin in Indonesia and its destination of Singapore.
Pilots had requested a deviation from the flight path due to weather before contact was lost. Investigators say the pilot asked to avoid the clouds and the storms by turning left and climbing to 34,000 feet. And meteorologists here at the Weather Channel's Global Forecast Center say that these storms that you're looking at here, those bright colors, those were up to 50,000 foot tall thunderstorm tops right near the flight path, right over the Java Sea there.
And that was at the time when they lost contact. Officials are now saying that the airspace was possibly thick with dense storm clouds, strong winds and lightning. Indonesia's acting director general of transportation says there was no distress signal from the cockpit.
And now anguished families have been gathering at the Surabaya airport. Several wept openly as they anxiously waited for information on that missing flight. A search and rescue operation again is underway for Flight 8501, but there is no sign yet of the plane.
An aviation analyst will join us live in just 10 minutes, but now let's bring it stateside. Winter Storm Frona is certainly going to be a long-lasting storm.
Yeah, dangerous wind chills, heavy snow. Carl Parker in the lab monitoring this developing storm. Carl, this is going to be with us for days.
So one of which is coming down right now, but then we're going to get Arctic air following that, and then another system which comes around through California, Nevada, slowly moves through the southwest through the middle of this week, and then comes out into the plains in the Midwest by the end of the week. And there could be a substantial storm in the Midwest by the weekend. But in the meantime, we've got this first low that's dropping through the Rockies right there. Now, this is an infrared satellite loop. Very strong correlation between temperature and the height of clouds, and so the infrared satellite pictures using the temperatures of the cloud tops to show you where the taller clouds are, where the weather is essentially, and we're seeing that very clearly across Montana and Idaho. But the other thing that the infrared satellite will pick up is the temperature at the surface if it is cold enough, and it is here across a lot of north central Canada. All of that blue that's not really moving very much is very cold air right at the surface, and that is the Arctic air that is poised to come down and into the Rockies and the northern high plains. Got some snow lingering there around the Cascades, still some issues at pass level. Lighter snow now across parts of Montana, also dropping down into 84 and 15, Pocatello and Salt Lake City. We're going to get more rounds of snow today, and this is the high resolution model forecast showing you these snow showers continuing to come across the Great Salt Lake and into the Wasatch. That upslope flow, we're going to get some pretty heavy snow, over a foot, we think, in the Wasatch, several inches in the benches, and about 3 to 5 most likely in Salt Lake City proper, maybe a little bit less than that on the southwest side of town. And then in the Denver metro, it's going to be about the same, around 3 to 5 inches mark, but a lot more as you get into the foothills and up into the Rockies. Over to you.
Thanks, Carl. Yeah, elevation a huge part of that storm, and we're going to be talking about it for days to come. Of course, on the other side of the country, we're talking about the rain. Rain still coming down in portions of the southeast. Houston, you're seeing showers sticking around. New Orleans, it was raining yesterday. You still have wet streets there today as we look down on Bourbon Street. And Atlanta, you've been in and out of the showers as well, kind of socked in on that view. Lots of low clouds in the distance. There's also a flood watch in place for Atlanta until tomorrow morning, which could make for a messy day of travel. And speaking of travel, our own Mike Seidel is back in town, but still at the airport. Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport. Rain was certainly heavier earlier today, Mike, but any lingering effects throughout the air traffic system from the southeast rain?
Not a whole lot that we can find, because here, the world's busiest airport, we've only had 17 departing flights delayed, only one canceled flight all morning, Delta Gulfport to Atlanta. That's it, because we have good visibility, unlike we had Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Visibility has been running 6 to 10 miles. Likewise, in the Northeast, some light rain in New York City, but those airports, too, have visibilities running more than 5 miles. There's the rain, Atlanta, all the way back to Texas. You'll have to deal with that on the interstates. In fact, we talked to one lady. Her biggest issue was getting here and hydroplaning on the highways here around Atlanta. Other airports looking pretty good too. Nationwide, we've got 89 canceled flights and about 530 or so delayed flights. That's a very small number compared to the thousands of delays we had Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So overall, Bonnie, a much better flight day today than we had leading up to Christmas. We'll see how things go. But I can tell you, Monday through New Year's Day, East Coast flights looking good. Dry but colder weather for everybody. Back to you.
Absolutely, Mike. And it's interesting that he mentioned the hydroplaning. I experienced that too in Atlanta. So maybe the flights aren't as impacted, but driving conditions are. And that's why I want to let you know that for many people in the south, we're looking at soggy conditions across the forecast area. Look for low clouds as well, and that's going to impact as many of us as we continue to monitor this system. Plenty of heavy rain sweeping across Atlanta into areas of Mississippi, and we're watching for this rain to slide to the north and east towards Greenville and into Macon as well. And as we go ahead and put this in motion, you'll see that the area we're expecting impact from is further to the north as well. Lots of rain working its way further to the east. So this is going to be kind of a treacherous day as we continue to monitor the moisture coming up from the south, working its way even into the Carolinas by tomorrow. Check this out. Plenty of abundant moisture sweeping from the Gulf Coast, and this is really going to impact us for those that are driving on Interstate 20 or 85. Notice the flood watch. That includes Atlanta and then further off to the west through Monday. Stay with us. We'll have the latest on our storm system Frona and the flooding that we're tracking here.
Free Ultra brings a revolution to joint health. It's the smallest joint health pill, now with a new triple action formula for joint, cartilage, and bone health. Move on to new Move Free Ultra.
It's the Buick.
Sir. Buick. Where's the Buick?
The expectation-shattering Buick LaCrosse.
During the Buick Holiday event, make your best deal on a LaCrosse in stock the longest and get cash back for 20% of the MSRP. That's nearly $8,000 on this 2015 LaCrosse. Hurry, this offer ends January 2nd.
Currently in our area, 78 degrees under mostly cloudy skies. Today, partly cloudy, high 81. Winds southeast at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Tonight, clear to partly cloudy, low 69. Winds south-southeast at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Monday, intervals of clouds and sunshine, high 80. Winds south at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Here's our 7-day outlook.
Prospectors, the $1 Million Mountain. Tonight at 9 on the Weather Channel. The holidays go high-tech with Holidays in Space at Kennedy Space Center Visitor Complex. Join us for an out-of-this-world take on the sights and sounds of the holiday season now through January 4th. Visit tourksc.com for details.
My job is so hard on my hands.
The cracks were the worst part.
O'Keefe's Working Hands. Guaranteed relief for dry hands that crack and split.
There was a difference within just minutes of it absorbing into my skin.
Only O'Keefe's has given me the relief that I need.
Learn more at workinghands.com.
The way we see it, after a heavy snowfall, you have two options. You can stay inside or get behind the wheel of the Jeep Grand Cherokee with an available best-in-class 4x4 traction management system to maximize control, giving you confidence in all weather conditions. This is the Jeep Grand Cherokee, the most awarded SUV ever. Well-qualified lessees can lease the 2015 Grand Cherokee Laredo for $369 a month.
Before ISS, before Hubble, we built the most extraordinary machine. Stand nose to nose with Space Shuttle Atlantis, one of thousands of exciting things to explore at Kennedy Space Center Visitor Complex. Always exploring.
This morning, officials are now saying airspace was possibly thick with dense storm clouds, strong winds, and lightning, and this could have contributed to the AirAsia plane going missing.
According to the Indonesian Civil Aviation Authority, the pilot had asked to change course during the flight due to that line of heavy thunderstorms. That was just 2 hours after leaving Indonesia when AirAsia Flight 8501 was on its way for Singapore.
When air traffic controllers lost contact with the plane, it was over the Java Sea, and 162 people were on board. Air search operations have halted for the night and will resume at 6 a.m. tomorrow. Some ships are still in the area, though, continuing to look.
Looking at some of the conditions at the time it lost contact, we can follow this flight through the kind of the Java Sea there. We're seeing those big storm clouds that across the area, the big blobs of red. Those are storm tops approaching 50,000 feet. At the time, early indications are that the cruising level for this flight was just over 30,000 feet. So those are some really big thunderstorms right through those tropical areas. And NBC's Katie Tur is at the airport in Singapore where that plane was supposed to arrive. Katie.
162 people on board that flight, 155 passengers, 5 crew members, and 2 pilots. Of the passengers, the vast majority are Indonesian. And at that airport in Surabaya right now, quite a scene with family members and friends looking for answers. The CEO of AirAsia has gone down there to try and give them as much information as he can. It was supposed to be here in Singapore at 8:30 this morning. Never made it, dropped off radar somewhere over the Java Sea. And this is the 3rd incident with a Malaysian-based airline just this year alone. An emotional scene at Surabaya Airport in Indonesia as families learn that the plane carrying their loved ones is missing, lost somewhere over the Java Sea. I hope for a miracle and may God save all of them, said one friend waiting for news. The flight was on its way from Surabaya to Singapore when the airline says pilots asked to climb to 38,000 feet to avoid clouds. But the AirAsia Airbus 320 has not been heard from since, and weather maps do indicate thunderstorms in the area around the time the aircraft disappeared. This is the third incident involving a Malaysian-based airliner this year. And now this new search is bringing back old and unresolved memories of MH370, the Malaysian Airlines flight that disappeared in March and is still missing. That flight, traveling from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing, was carrying 239 passengers and crew. Then there's MH17, traveling from Amsterdam to Kuala Lumpur. It was shot down over the Ukraine this summer. Today, more questions and more heartache from families who just want to know what happened to their loved ones. 47 family and friends were here looking for answers, sequestered behind this corridor here. We did see a few of them earlier on, and as you would expect, they were understandably distraught. Officials do know where and when it went off radar, so they should, in theory, have a good idea of where it is in the Java Sea, but they did not find it at any point today. They searched the entire day. They've called off the search for the evening because it is dark. They will resume again tomorrow morning once it becomes light. Back to you.
Thanks, Katie. Well, as you can imagine, this has been getting a lot of attention on social media as well. In fact, 4 of the top 10 trending topics on Twitter right now have been about this story. And people are tweeting, of course, their concern for those missing and their families. We want to read you some of those tweets now. Halma says, what a lot of people are wondering is, another missing plane. Seriously? AirAsia Indonesia to Singapore. I hope that the passengers are safe. Stay with us. We're going to have more on this coming up.
Nourished, rescued, protected, given new hope. During the Subaru Share the Love event, Subaru owners feel it too. Because when you take home a new Subaru, we donate $250 to helping those in need. We'll have given $50 million over 7 years. Love, it's what makes a Subaru.
She's still the one for you. And Cialis for daily use helps you be ready anytime the moment is right. Cialis is also the only daily ED tablet approved to treat symptoms of BPH, like needing to go frequently. Tell your doctor about all your medical conditions and medicines, and ask if your heart is healthy enough for sex. Do not take Cialis if you take nitrates for chest pain, as it may cause an unsafe drop in blood pressure. Do not drink alcohol in excess. Side effects may include headache, upset stomach, delayed backache, or muscle ache. To avoid long-term injury, get medical help right away for an erection lasting more than 4 hours. If you have any sudden decrease or loss in hearing or vision, or any allergic reactions like rash, hives, swelling of the lips, tongue, or throat, or difficulty breathing or swallowing, stop taking Cialis and get medical help right away. Ask your doctor about Cialis for daily use and a free 30-tablet trial.
I've seen hurricanes, floods, I've seen tornadoes. We give out Duracell batteries after the worst happens. And when the power's out for days, we stay with them. You might say they lost everything, but that's not what I see. I see a different kind of power. I saw it in Ruth, Adam, Tom. It's the power they have inside of them. The power to move forward.
At Duracell, we believe that's the power that never, ever goes out.
New Move Free Ultra brings a revolution to joint health. It's the smallest joint health pill, now with a new triple action formula for joint, cartilage, and bone health. Move on to new Move Free Ultra.
Fact. When you take Advil, you get relief right at the site of pain, wherever it is. Advil stops pain right where it starts. Relief doesn't get any better than this. Advil.
It's not too late to get what you really wanted for the holidays. Now at the Men's Warehouse after Christmas sale, get select designer suits for $249.99. Plus, buy one, get one free on almost everything else in the store. Confidence suits you. Only at Men's Warehouse.
This winter, you've got to watch the Weather Channel mornings.
It's going to have wide-ranging impacts.
Winter storms are too important to cover in just a few minutes.
It's going to be brutal for a lot of people.
Because it's not just about your forecast.
That's why those temperatures stay cold.
Awesome is watching hit movies like Divergent here. And the biggest hit shows here
My head's caught.
Or even here. Anywhere you want, anytime you want. This is awesome. This is HBO on Xfinity. Get your favorite series and movies with HBO. Plus, upgrade to digital preferred TV and get over 80 additional channels. Upgrade now for $14.99 more a month for 12 months. Call 1-800-XFINITY or go online today.
Welcome back to QVC. Here's a great gift idea. It's perfect for that person on your list who loves to bake. In fact, it's a must-have in my kitchen when I get together with my niece and nephew and we make sweet treats for Santa and all of his reindeer.
Shipping and even pay the return postage. Try NoNo risk-free today.
Tonight at 9. Get down now! Prospectors, the $1 Million Mountain. Tonight at 9 on the Weather Channel.
Currently in our area, 78 degrees under mostly cloudy skies. Today, partly cloudy, high 81. Winds southeast at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Tonight, clear to partly cloudy, low 69. Winds south-southeast at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Monday, intervals of clouds and sunshine, high 80. Winds south at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Here's our 7-day outlook.
Well, how about this? Texas road crews scrambling to get ahead of a snowfall, but wrecks were plentiful on highways in the Lubbock area Saturday morning. Police say road conditions really weren't all that bad.
Officers say most of the accidents were actually spinouts with vehicles or slamming into guardrails. They say they didn't have the drivers really take the snow and ice into account and slow down. That's what you always have to do with this kind of weather.
That's certainly key when there's slick roads out there.
We're tracking a new winter storm named Frona cutting through the northern Rockies.
Heavy snow falling from the Intermountain West, Idaho, Wyoming, Montana. Carl Parker in the lab tracking this newly named storm. Carl, over to you.
Yeah, the storm has a lot of parts, Mark. The first part is this low that's coming down right now. We're going to get Arctic air following that. It's going to get really cold, very windy for much of the northern high plains, northern Rockies. And then another low will come down along the west coast and cycle through the southwest over the course of this week and then come out into the plains and Midwest by late week. And in fact, there could be a big storm in the Midwest by the weekend. So first of all, here's the first low that's moving down through the northern Rockies, and along with that, light snow for the most part spreading from the Cascades into southern parts of Idaho along 84 and 15 down into Salt Lake City, across parts of Montana and 90 as well. Here's the model forecast. We'll take this through today and tomorrow. So Salt Lake City, rounds of snow today. That's going to be tapering off tomorrow. Denver, bigger day for you tomorrow. We'll get more of an upslope flow driving right into the Rockies, and as usual, heavier amounts of snow at higher elevations. That, of course, the case in Salt Lake City, talking about as much as a foot or more in the Wasatch. Great news for you powder hounds, probably about 3 to 5 in Salt Lake City proper. Same story in Denver, about 3 to 5, but we expect to see 5 to 8 in the foothills and as much as a foot or more as you get up into the highest of elevations in the Rockies. Now, going forward, again, we're going to watch Arctic air drop down across the northern Rockies. Now, notice the kink right in here. That is an upper low taking shape across parts of the Great Basin, Nevada and California. And as that drops through the southwest, that's when things get really interesting there. Now, what we've done here is we put the snowfall accumulation as the model sees it on, and then with the little white lines, what we're showing you is the vorticity in the atmosphere in the mid levels, and that is a proxy. That's the spin. That's a proxy for where the second second upper low is going to be moving. So here it is coming through California and Nevada. That's Monday into Tuesday. Snow developing in the higher elevations of Southern California. That is heavy snow in parts of Nevada and southern Utah and northwest Arizona. Certainly are in the mountains around Vegas, and then eventually coming over into parts of New Mexico as well. So Mark, looking at a pretty interesting situation coming up here for even Las Vegas. Over to you.
Amazing that Vegas could see snow. That's always a big deal when that happens. And of course, this cold air doesn't stay in the west. It spills into the plains and the Midwest. How about you, Minneapolis? Good morning to you. Sunshine, but don't be fooled. It's only 10 degrees out there right now, so relatively chilly. In Minneapolis, you're going to climb to about 23 this afternoon. Unfortunately, that's it. That's as good as it gets for this upcoming week. We might have some high temperatures flirting with single digits by the beginning of the work week leading into New Year's. Let's go through some of this Arctic chill that is coming through the plains, and we're going to start out by looking at some of those really cold high temperatures for Minneapolis. Look at this, 5 on Tuesday. 5. Your average high? Yeah, it is 24. So we're almost 20 degrees below average when it comes to our high temperatures in Minneapolis. And this is just the beginning of that cold air punch. This cold air spills south. Sure, it goes through the west and interacts with our winter storm, but it also drives much further south into the southern plains, where anywhere in blue here has the potential of being 25 to 45 degrees below average. And you can see that for your high temperatures as early as tomorrow, where from Bismarck to Billings to Rapid City, we're talking single-digit high temperatures, anywhere from 20 to 30 degrees off your average high for this time of year. Single digits get as far south as Denver and Omaha by the time we get into Tuesday and even Wednesday, although it certainly moderates this far south, but Amarillo, Kansas City, Chicago, 20 to 25 degrees. And again, those are the high temperatures. How about the lows? You ready for this? Bismarck, low temperature tomorrow morning, 10 below. Yeah, and it gets worse from there as this cold air spills south. Rapid City to Denver, 13 below Tuesday morning. Dodge City, you're going to be near 3. And Wednesday, we're talking low temps, moderating, but still very cold, and 10 to 15 degrees below your average. So as far south as Dallas, we're talking temperatures as we get towards the new year that top out in the upper 30s. Bonnie, over to you.
Thanks, Mark. The forecast where you live is just minutes away. Then we'll gaze into the shimmering crystal ball at Times Square. We've got your New Year's Eve forecast coming up.
You park your car. As you walk away, crunch. A garbage truck backs into it. So you call your insurance company looking for a little support. What you get is a game of 1,000 questions. Was it raining? Were your flashers on? Was there a dog with you? By the time you hang up, you're convinced the accident was your fault. Then you remember, you weren't even in the car.
At Liberty Mutual, we make filing a claim as stress-free as possible. See car insurance in a whole new light. Liberty Mutual Insurance.
New Move Free Ultra brings a revolution to joint health. It's the smallest joint health pill, now with a new triple action formula for joint, cartilage, and bone health. Move on to new Move Free Ultra.
At Intel, they have technology you can control with gestures. Like now, she's flying a spaceship to Mars.
We're flying a plane to Detroit.
Intel. This is where it all changes.
My grandson's got this blankie that gets filthy. But he's got such sensitive skin that you worry about what you use in the laundry. My Tide Pods, Downy and Bounce all come in free and gentle. So we get a cleaner, softer blankie.
Hypoallergenic, Tide, Downy and Bounce free.
Here's a question for you. If every U.S. household with a computer used sleep mode when they weren't using it, how much could we save on electricity each year? Up to $1 billion? $3 billion? $4.5 billion? The answer is up to $4.5 billion. Using your computer's built-in energy-saving features can generate real household savings. Take the energy quiz, round 2. Energy lives here.
I'm calling in regards about my mother, and I'm here, and I just want to thank you because it saved my mother's life yesterday. And I'd like to know the names of the people that came in and saved her so I could call and thank them. And she's doing fine. It's a wonderful thing. Thank you.
When you fall and cannot get up, an accident can turn into a tragedy. But with Life Alert, one touch of a button can get you help fast. Life Alert saves a person from a catastrophe every 10 minutes.
Life Alert is a lifesaver. If it weren't for Life Alert, I wouldn't be sitting here today.
For a free Life Alert brochure, call 1-800-491-1389. That's 1-800-491-1389. Call now 1-800-491-1389. For a free brochure, call 1-800-491-1389.
Currently in our area, 78 degrees under mostly cloudy skies. Today, partly cloudy, high 81. Winds southeast at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Tonight, clear to partly cloudy, low 69. Winds south-southeast at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Monday, intervals of clouds and sunshine, high 80. Winds south at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Here's our 7-day outlook.
Prospectors, the $1 Million Mountain. Tonight at 9 on the Weather Channel.
Welcome back to Weather Center Live. I'm Bonnie Schneider.
And I'm Mark Elliott. And this morning we are keeping a close eye on Indonesia as the search for a missing plane continues. Air Asia Flight 8501 lost contact with the Jakarta Air Traffic Control Tower around 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. At that time, it was halfway between its origin of Surabaya, Indonesia, and its destination of Singapore.
Investigators say the pilot asked to avoid clouds by turning left and climbing to 34,000 feet. Meteorologists in the Weather Channel's Global Forecast Center say there was a 50,000-foot thunderstorm cluster right near the flight path over the Java Sea, and that was at the time of lost contact. Officials now are saying that the airspace was possibly thick with dense storm clouds, strong winds, and lightning. We will, of course, stay on top of the story and bring you any updates as soon as we get them.
Meanwhile, millions of Americans fighting the weather to get back home from their holiday trips today, and that's particularly true across the southeast, where heavy rain has been featured at times today already in Atlanta and Nashville. Certainly some tough go on the roads. Charleston, South Carolina, you've got some of that rain knocking on the doorstep, not quite in just yet. Our own Mike Seidel is live today at the world's busiest airport. It's Hartsfield-Jackson International here in Atlanta. Mike, you went from the rain in New Orleans to some heavy rain here in Atlanta today, although it's certainly eased up as of late. Over to you.
Yes, it is not raining at this point. We've had heavy rain overnight. We've had just over 2 inches. And so far, so good up and down the East Coast because the visibility is pretty good today despite the rain. Right now, we're running about 5 to 6 miles up at LaGuardia, Newark. Last check, 8, 9, 10 miles. That is great for flying despite some light rain in the tri-state area. I can give you a heads up. Tomorrow through New Year's Day, entire East Coast clears out, but it does get colder. That's going to be our big story this week for millions of you is how cold it's going to get. We went indoors, inside to the North Terminal. You can see a lot of folks lining up at the ticket counters, getting checked in, getting their baggage checked, hopefully not paying any baggage fees. Maybe they have a frequent flyer program, or Southwest gives you, a free bag. And we also talked to some travelers, and it sounds like with this lady, the toughest part was getting to the airport.
Hydroplaned a little bit on the way here, but other than that, it was okay.
Did not like the weather.
What? Tell me that.
I did not like the weather.
And wet streets around Atlanta will continue this afternoon and into this evening. Some showers, but the bulk of the rain has fallen. Tomorrow the sun comes back, still near 60. Good 5+ degrees above average. But again, Bonnie, everybody, just about everybody is going to get colder, at least get back to average, if not below average. And I'll be in the thick of it tomorrow morning from Minneapolis, St. Paul. Single numbers and sub-zero wind chills. I'll have some gloves on.
Yes,
Bonnie?
I hope so, and a thicker hat too, Mike. You're going to have to bundle up. It's not Atlanta, that's for sure. We're looking at rain, though, outside of Atlanta. People were talking about hydroplaning, so if you're driving, you really have to be extra careful because that's what we're looking at. We're looking at the potential for wet weather in the forecast, and that's exactly what much of the South faces. I've been seeing lots of rain working its way through Louisiana yesterday. Now, heavy rain for Houston. Look at this. Heavy rain stretching right into that Louisiana border, and it's moving into Shreveport and then further to the north just south of Little Rock towards Memphis, Tennessee, Oxford, Mississippi. Remember, these are the same places that saw heavy rain yesterday, so be extra careful. The ground's already saturated. The Houston metro area has been steadily facing rain throughout the morning. No change there, and there's the rain heading northward to Tupelo and Memphis as well. As we stretch to the east into Knoxville, Tennessee, you'll see light to moderate showers, and then into Greenville as well. We're looking at rain just south of that into South Carolina and as well as Georgia. We saw some heavy rain here, as I mentioned, in Atlanta. Well, why? Why are we seeing so much rain? Look at this. First off, you see the dry air off to the west, that colder air plunging to the south. Well, in advance of it, we're looking for a moisture surge from the Gulf of Mexico as the front pushes forward. And in advance of that front, you're going to see a lot of moisture coming throughout the day today and into tonight and tomorrow. So that's why we have a flood watch in effect for the areas you see highlighted here in green. Some major cities as well, like Atlanta. This is where we're expecting less than an inch of rain. But remember, we've seen a lot of rain already. So if the waterway covers the roads, do not attempt to pass. Looking northward towards tonight, rain for Raleigh, North Carolina, and then for tomorrow to start off the week. Many people may have time off or you're traveling. You're going to face rain from Norfolk, Virginia down through Raleigh as well. So keep in mind, for those of you that are traveling, you may see airport delays. Mike, of course, reporting on that from Atlanta. So far, not too bad, but there's always that potential with the weather like this. Mark?
And Bonnie, millions of our viewers trying to get home from their holiday trip facing a different type of weather obstacle, and that is Winter Storm Frona. Looking live now at Denver on the left side of your screen and Portland on the right. Snow from Frona is knocking on Denver's door. Still some precip coming into Portland on the right. Mostly rain showers, but still, you're not done yet. Frona, a multifaceted weather system that will be with us for days. So we want to give you an update now on Winter Storm Frona, what's happening right now, and where this whole thing is going next. So we start off across the really the Pacific Northwest, where Winter Storm Frona is in play here. We are following this advisories that are out from the National Weather Service offices. Winter storm warnings are up in these deep blue colors. Winter weather advisories in the lighter blue. Notice it's still the portions of the Washington-Oregon Cascades still impacted here, although the Washington Cascades near Seattle have calmed down a bit. Elevation, a big factor here. If you're traveling I-15 near Great Falls, you'll run into some of that snow. Heavy snow in the southern Idaho mountains along I-15 south of Pocatello. You also have a difficult drive. And Salt Lake City, here we go. The snow is back in play. There may even be a little bit of freezing rain if you're going into far western portions of Utah. The wide view shows you that precip and why we're seeing this intensifying storm. Because again, this is part one. We have this area of low pressure coming in as part one to the storm. But with this big dip in the jet stream, we get cold air spilling south. That's going to be part two. And part three is an upper level low that starts here within this jet stream dip and slowly migrates off towards the east. So what that means is that we're going to see days of precipitation, days of building cold air. This storm, this Arctic front, will combine to bring a windswept snow that will be difficult for the plowing crews to clear out of. So again, today we're looking at snow showers mostly over the Intermountain West. By tonight, slinking a little bit further south and east, even into portions of the plains. Not quite yet to Denver, but we'll get you there, Denver. You'll see some snow coming into play by tomorrow, snow and wind for that matter. And Bonnie, this could even mean some snow in the Southern California mountains by the time the storm is done. Over to you.
Boy, that is not the way you want to ring in the new year. I'll tell you, though, the Times Square Ball, well, it's ready for its annual drop on New Year's Eve in New York City. More than 1 million spectators are expected to jam-pack the streets to watch the ball drop on Wednesday night. Crews were hard at work yesterday installing more than 250 newly designed Waterford Crystal Triangles. The Times Square Alliance is honoring the humanitarian work of the International Rescue Committee with these new crystals. They join the other 2,400 crystals already in place. It's so interesting to see it up close and then watch it fall at the stroke of midnight. What's the forecast going to be? Are you headed to Times Square? My advice is to bundle up. The temperatures will stay mainly into the 20s throughout the evening hours, whether you're starting off at 11, at midnight 28, and that may seem cold, but actually it's pretty typical for this time of year. And looking across the country, your New Year's Eve forecast, we can see that we do have some snow and some rain to deal with in areas of the southwest, and then it looks pretty good for much of the rest of the country, especially if you're outdoors. But keep in mind, it's going to be cold. In Chicago, for example, the temperature for the high is 19. And Mark, New Year's Day does look cold in many places across the country.
Yeah, a new regime as that calendar turns. Following our big story today, 162 people flying from Indonesia to Singapore have disappeared. Most of those people from Indonesia and South Korea. We'll have details on the weather factor next.
Currently in our area, 80 degrees under mostly cloudy skies. Today, partly cloudy, high 81. Winds southeast at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Tonight, clear to partly cloudy, low 69. Winds south-southeast at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Monday, intervals of clouds and sunshine, high 80. Winds south at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Here's our 7-day outlook.
I've always loved exploring and looking for something better. That's the way I look at life, especially now that I live with a higher risk of stroke due to AFib, a type of irregular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. I was taking warfarin, but I wondered if I kept digging, could I come up with something better? My doctor told me about Eliquis for 3 important reasons. 1, in a clinical trial, Eliquis was proven to reduce the risk of stroke better than warfarin. 2, Eliquis had less major bleeding than warfarin. And 3, unlike warfarin, there's no routine blood testing.
Don't stop taking Eliquis unless your doctor tells you to, as stopping increases your risk of having a stroke. Eliquis can cause serious and in rare cases fatal bleeding. Don't take Eliquis if you have an artificial heart valve or abnormal bleeding. While taking Eliquis, you may bruise more easily, and it may take longer than usual for any bleeding to stop. Seek immediate medical care for sudden signs of bleeding, like unusual bruising. Eliquis may increase your bleeding risk if you take certain medicines. Tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures.
Those 3 important reasons are why Eliquis is a better find for me.
Ask your doctor today if Eliquis is right for you.
The holidays go high-tech with Holidays in Space at Kennedy Space Center Visitor Complex. Join us for an out-of-this-world take on the sights and sounds of the holiday season now through January 4th. Visit tourksc.com for details.
I will light up every room I walk into.
Olay presents the Regenerist Luminous Collection. Renew surface cells to even skin tone. In just 2 weeks, see pearlescent luminous skin. Regenerist Luminous. Olay, your best beautiful.
The way we see it, after a heavy snowfall, you have 2 options. You can stay inside, or get behind the wheel of the Jeep Grand Cherokee with an available best-in-class 4x4 traction management system to maximize control, giving you confidence in all weather conditions. This is the Jeep Grand Cherokee, the most awarded SUV ever. Well-qualified lessees can lease the 2015 Grand Cherokee Laredo for $369 a month.
Is your back acting up again? Is lower back pain a daily drain?
If you're one of the millions who suffer from the agony of lower back pain, you need Be Active, the revolutionary new acupressure system that instantly helps ease discomfort in your lower back, buttocks, and legs. Watch. Just slip on Be Active and tighten the strap. You'll instantly begin experiencing relief. Look, back pain often radiates from the lower back to your lower extremities, but apply Be Active to the trigger point on the calf muscle to instantly relieve pain. The secret is the AcuPoint pressure pad that gently compresses, alleviating pain at the sciatic nerve and lower back for instant relief.
I just slide it on, I tighten the strap, I feel the pressure point right behind my knee, and right away I feel the release of pain in my lower back.
Be Active provides firm pressure behind the knee on the specific pressure point, which can help relieve the pain and suffering from sciatica.
Wow, that's I can feel comfort already.
It's like right away relief.
I just put it on, but I can feel it already easing the pain.
But now I don't feel the pain at all. This is really something.
You can't see the relief? I can feel it.
It kind of feels like it's relaxing that muscle.
I definitely wish I found this a couple months ago.
Be Active gives you the ability to instantly be active again. Wear it while exercising. Keep up with the kids. It's invisible under clothing, comfortable enough to sleep in. Be Active easily adjusts to fit any leg so everyone can live pain-free. Be Active is always there to deliver the pain relief you need. Now start living pain-free with the acupressure point therapy of Be Active for just $19.99. But wait, call now and we'll double the offer free. Just pay separate processing. If you don't begin to get instant relief, send it back and owe nothing. You get it all for just $19.99. So call or click now.
To order, call 1-800-370-7747. That's 1-800-370-7747 or go online to beactivebrace.com. Call or click today.
This morning, we are continuing to analyze how weather may have been a factor in an AirAsia plane that has gone missing. Right now, you're seeing file video of a similar AirAsia aircraft. And according to Indonesian Civil Aviation Authority, the pilot had asked to change course because of a line of thunderstorms in the path of the plane last night. And that was just 2 hours after leaving Surabaya, Indonesia. The AirAsia flight 8501 was on its way to Singapore when air traffic controllers lost contact. At the time, 162 people were on board. Joining us now is former National Transportation Safety Board Senior Air Safety Investigator Greg Feith. Greg, these were some really big storms that we have been analyzing near the path of that plane. In your experience analyzing similar situation, could that have contributed to the plane losing contact with ground control?
Absolutely, Mark. One of the big issues is going to be what the pilots were able to see out in front of them using onboard weather radar and then any kind of information they were getting from air traffic control. What really prompted the deviation and what direction they deviated? Was it because they thought that that was the lesser area of this line of thunderstorms? It's obvious that they believed that they may have been able to climb over it. They requested a higher altitude, but as we've been talking about all morning, these thunderstorms were blossoming up to 40 and 50,000 feet. So that's going to be a primary question for the investigators to try and answer, is what these pilots were trying to do to traverse that line of thunderstorms.
Now let's talk a little bit about weather when it intersects with flights. I mean, you mentioned they have onboard radar. Planes do fly near and around thunderstorms all the time. What's different in this case? Why could this thunderstorm have had such a different outcome?
Given the fact that this is that intercontinental convergence zone, the fact that the weather itself in these thunderstorms is very volatile. It has a lot of energy. They blossom very high. You have vertical up and down drafts that are very dramatic. You have large size hail. You have lightning. You have a variety of things that airplanes don't like when they fly into systems like this. With these vertical shears, you can actually exceed the structural strength of the aircraft and cause it to break up. If the crew got into any kind of vertical up and down draft, they could lose control of the airplane or a combination of both. And the reason we may not be seeing this on radar is because, or seeing the aircraft on radar, is because of the density of these thunderstorms. If the airplane broke up in flight, of course, we wouldn't be able to see the returns from these skin paints, what we call skin paints, where the radar is bouncing off the pieces of metal.
Sure, and kind of talking about that same idea real quickly, talking about those beacons that are used for flights to try, could weather damage those, even if the plane isn't broken apart? Does weather affect those instruments?
Well, with the transponder, you can have some attenuation of a radio signal. The fact that we lost radio contact and radar contact through the transponder could be indicative of either an electrical problem on the aircraft or a catastrophic breakup, which renders the airplane electrical system then compromised, and you will not get an electronic signal from the airplane.
All right, Greg Feit, thanks so much for your time today. We'll continue to update the weather situation with that flight. Bonnie, over to you.
Thanks, Mark. We want to take a look at the last 7 days because we're changing certainly months on the calendar, but years as well as we move into 2015. A lot of people are traveling this week. You may have some time off. Now today, if you're hitting the roads, watch out. We definitely saw some heavy downpours in Georgia earlier on today. People reported hydroplaning. The rain continues as a threat for Louisiana, Mississippi, but then further north tomorrow as it expands all the way up into the Carolinas. So be careful driving. But look at this. This is Frona. It's our new winter storm, and it will expand all the way eastward into Colorado for tomorrow, and then for Tuesday, not quite as bad. But look at this, the Arctic blast that's coming in will be felt in Minneapolis. 5, that's your high temperature in Minneapolis. Last day of the year, 19 degrees is the high temperature in Chicago. We'll look for a temperature of 38 in Seattle, and as we head to the first day of 2015, most of the country facing some cold conditions with temperatures in the 20s and 30s, and by Friday, this could be our next winter storm. Stay with the Weather Channel. We'll tell you all about it.
This is Conley, Cameron, Zach, and Clementine.
We have a serious hairball issue.
We clean it up and turn around, and there it is again. It's scary. A little bit in my eye.
Underneath the kitchen table, underneath my work desk, we've got enough to knit a sweater. Zach, what is that? Oh, the Swiffer sweeper.
It's like the Swiffer dusters. It's some sort of magic cloth that sucks in all the dog hair.
It's quick and easy. Pretty amazing that I picked it all up. I would totally take on another dog.
Really?
This thing is getting bigger and bigger.
Mother Nature can absolutely change people. I'm ready to get out of here and create a new track.
This is a tornado emergency.
It was hard to believe weather could do that.
Never seen anything like this in my life.
Currently in our area, 80 degrees under mostly cloudy skies. Today, partly cloudy, high 81. Winds southeast at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Tonight, clear to partly cloudy, low 69. Winds south-southeast at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Monday, intervals of clouds and sunshine, high 80. Winds south at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Here's our 7-day outlook.
Fact. Fast-acting Advil is designed with an ultra-thin coating and fast-absorbing Advil Ion Core technology, stopping headaches and other tough pain fast. Relief doesn't get any better than this. Advil.
You pay your auto insurance premium every month on the dot. You're like the poster child for paying on time. And then one day, you tap the bumper of a station wagon. No big deal until your insurance company jacks up your rates. You freak out. What good is having insurance if you get punished for using it? Hey, insurance companies, newsflash. Nobody's perfect.
For drivers with accident forgiveness, Liberty Mutual won't raise your rates due to your first accident. See car insurance in a whole new light. Liberty Mutual Insurance.
New Move Free Ultra brings a revolution to joint health. It's the smallest joint health pill, now with a new triple action formula for joint, cartilage, and bone health. Move on to new Move Free Ultra.
Rich, chewy caramel rolled up in smooth milk chocolate.
Let me know if this gets too hot.
Rolo, get your smooth on.
I've seen hurricanes, floods, I've seen tornadoes. We give out Duracell batteries after the worst happens. And when the power's out for days, we stay with them. You might say they lost everything, but that's not what I see. I see a different kind of power. I saw it in Ruth, Adam, Tom. It's the power they have inside of them.
Awesome is watching hit movies like Divergent here. And the biggest hit shows here.
My head's caught.
Or even here. Anywhere you want, anytime you want. This is awesome. This is HBO on Xfinity. Get your favorite series and movies with HBO. Plus, upgrade to digital preferred TV and get over 80 additional channels. Upgrade now for $14.99 more a month for 12 months. Call 1-800-XFINITY or go online today.
This is the time of year when the flu starts to spread. Before the first sneeze, help protect with a spray. Before the first tissue, help defend with a wipe. And help prevent with Lysol to get 10 times more protection and kill 99.9% of germs around the house. This season, help protect your family with Lysol. Start healthing.
Shipping and even pay the return postage. Try NoNo risk-free today.
Ride on the most treacherous highway in the world to experience the high risk of heavy rescue. Highway Through Hell, Sundays at 10 on the Weather Channel.
Welcome back. It is time now for your winter weather update. I'm storm specialist Carl Parker, and we are looking at Winter Storm Afrona right now, which is not really one storm, but rather a whole series of events. And that's often the way that it is. It's rare that we actually have one single low to focus on. In this case, there's a low that's coming down through the northern Rockies. There's Arctic air that's going to follow that. We'll get some upslope snow with that. We'll get very cold air, a lot of wind, and then another big upper low will drop down into the southwest. So here is storm number 1, which comes down through the northern Rockies, central Rockies, next 24 to 48 hours, and we're still getting some snow now in the Cascades. Still some issues at pass level there in western Washington. Light snow along 90 and along 15 in Montana. More light snow into Pocatello along 84 and 86 and 15 right down into Salt Lake City. We're thinking about 3 to 5 with snow showers right in Salt Lake City in the Salt Lake and Tooele valleys, but probably more like several inches in the benches and maybe as much as a foot or more in the Wasatch. And there's the model forecast. So the snow showers continue in Salt Lake City right through late tomorrow. Really picks up in Colorado during the day tomorrow as we get an upslope flow wind driving into the Rockies. And so what we're expecting again is several inches to over a foot in the Wasatch and several inches to over a foot in the Colorado Rockies. Could be several inches in the foothills just west of Denver, as is often the case, and about 3 to 5 is what we're going in Denver proper. That's going to be more towards late tomorrow. And that again is just the first part of this. Then you've got the really cold air coming down through the northern Rockies, a lot of blowing snow Tuesday, Wednesday, and then a third system developing, and that will come into the southwest Wednesday, Thursday, and we may actually get some snow on the Strip in Vegas, maybe an inch or 2. A lot of snow in the mountains there in Nevada, as well as into Arizona, northern parts of Arizona, and then that comes into New Mexico by Friday. Well, right now, meteorologist Reynolds Wolf takes a look at the top 5 snow events of 2014.
Lots of winter in 2014, but just what stands out? And why?
We picked the top 5 events mainly because of the personality these storms had. They had to have either a regional or national scale impact or something really out of the ordinary.
Our number 5.
Coming down right now, I'd estimate around 3 inches an hour.
A lake effect 1-2 punch. We saw historic amounts of snowfall for November in the upstate New York area, as much as 7 feet from 2 rounds of lake effect.
Holy cow! Like, I can't believe how deep this snow is.
Numerous trees and some roofs gave way under the weight of the snow. And driving? It was not going to happen. Number 4, Winter Storm Leon. The Deep South went into deep freeze, Leon crippling two major southeastern cities, Atlanta and Birmingham.
I've been here 2 hours, about an hour to get out of the parking lot, and about an hour to sit and go maybe 5 cars.
Known as Snow Jam 2014, gridlock stranded thousands of motorists for as long as 20 hours. Number 3, Winter Storm Titan. Snow, sleet, ice, rain, and flooding. Titan's impacts began on the West Coast with heavy rains in drought-stricken areas of California and the Southwest. Los Angeles, more than 4.5 inches of rain, the most the city saw since March of 2011. Titan then pummeled a good chunk of the country.
It was another day of misery here in the Midwest.
All the way to the East Coast with snow, sleet, and ice. 20 states in all were impacted. Number 2, Winter Storm Maximus. Maximus lived up to its name, impacting 33 states with ice and snow.
Too much snow, too wet. We've had enough for the year.
It had an exceptionally long track from coast to coast, with more than a foot of snow out west and up to a foot from the Central Plains to the Northeast. And our number 1 pick from 2014.
The number 1 storm I looked at was Winter Storm Hercules. This was a long-track storm that at one point affected over 60 million people.
Hercules brought Boston its biggest snow of the year, over a foot, with coastal flooding.
Guys, it is brutal here. 1 degree right now in Boston.
And that's our top 5 snow events for 2014. I'm meteorologist Reynolds Wolf.
Thanks, Reynolds. And of course, we're still following this story. A jetliner vanishing from the sky, and that means an anguished wait for families. We'll see how the weather may have played a role.
Currently in our area, 80 degrees under mostly cloudy skies. Today, partly cloudy, high 81. Winds southeast at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Tonight, clear to partly cloudy, low 69. Winds south-southeast at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Monday, intervals of clouds and sunshine, high 80. Winds south at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Here's our 7-day outlook.
Following a developing story out of Indonesia, the air search for missing Air Asia Flight 8501 that disappeared with 162 people on board has been halted. Officials say the airspace was thick with storm clouds, strong winds, and lightning, and we are breaking down the weather with expert analysis.
And Winter Storm Frona set to impact a large part of the West, bringing with it heavy snow and dangerous wind.